I will quickly put the what did you ship last week in so we can do that. I should have done that before the meeting, but totally forgot as I was thinking of pluses and deltas. So let me do this real quick. And so I hope that you guys have maybe thought about some pluses and deltas. But if you haven't, you can take a couple minutes to just think of it now. So our Christie entered contributor rewards, that's 250 B card. Link shared all hands on social, that's 250 B card. And we have Tom ship staging updates to monthly statements. Tom did that. And that's 4K B card. And ship prototypes for inactivity notifications to admin for review. Oh, was I supposed to review that? I didn't realize that actually. Sorry, Tom, I haven't reviewed it yet. 4K B card. I wonder if Phil has some things for me to review too, actually. This week has ended up just being very busier than I thought as I'm trying to get all these things done before I go on vacation next week. And it feels like lots of people I talk to are doing the same. Links held and prepped for 2K B card. I held the ops meet for 500 B card. Oop, come on. And Tom shipped a staging overhaul to, okay, you know what? Let's just read these actually, because I think it's worth talking about some of these. Anyways, our Christie entered contributor rewards for week 50 into splits. That's 250 B card. I shared the all hands on social. That's 15 minutes or 250 B card. Winverse, actually, I don't think you put this in. Winverse taped and uploaded all hands to YouTube. That's 2K B card. Tom shipped staging updates for monthly statements for testing. That's 4K B card. Tom shipped prototypes for inactivity notifications to admin and cron on staging for review. 4K B card. This is kind of getting us ready for those automated emails about inactivity notifications. I added a backflag monthly vote and posted the socials. That's 750 B cards. I held and prepped the all hands last week. That's 2K B card. I held the ops meet. That's 500 B card, and Tom shipped staging overhaul to end security management. And this was related to that security issue with React last week. Actually, there ended up being 2 security issues, which is awesome, kind of. Anyways, all stuff entered here. Anything else that anyone shipped last week that is not here? I feel like Phil did some stuff, but I'm not quite sure. Let me just poke him in here at Phil. If you shipped anything last week, add it here and we'll send you some tokens later.
Yeah, I think he added vote weight awareness code or something.
Yeah, I feel like he did too. Oh, right.
The only thing I did was that splits transaction. I don't know. I was losing service when you were talking earlier. I didn't mark that down. It took like 5 minutes. But
yeah, let's do the lowest I go is 15 minutes. So let's just say 250 B card for that. But yes, that counts. So definitely put that into the what did you ship channel. Yeah, but I just added it into what did you ship last week already. So you don't need to add it this time. But
I will next time.
Doubt. Yeah, when in doubt, you can just add it.
When in doubt, add it out. Cool.
Exactly. All right. Now we can get into our retrospective. I'll try to go fast over the previous stuff so we can spend the majority of time thinking and talking about feedback. And so last time we had a retrospective was August 6th. And just to get everyone on the same page, just remember that a retrospective is an agile project management tool that we use to help teams continually improve. And the intent is really just to reflect on that time between now and the previous time we had a retrospective. And so that was in August. And so we're going to identify opportunities for team growth. We're going to talk about our goals, things that went well, things that could be improved, open questions that we have, and also ways that we can improve as a team. And what we're really trying to do here is to improve, right? And so to ensure that we can do that, try to be open and honest. All perspectives are valid. All perspectives are valuable. And if you have something to say, you should say it, because that's really going to help us improve as a team. And finally, reserve judgment. Let's try to listen as much as we can and resist the urge to talk about solutions in response to people's observations. What we really want is to get all those observations out. When you try to solution early, it sometimes creates a rabbit hole that we go down. And what we really want to do is stay at that kind of like observational level. At the end of the retrospective, we'll get into potential solutions. But of course, like the real work of solutioning will come in our day-to-day work. So yeah, it's really just to observe and reflect. Now on the alignment side, we're just going to try to get on the same page of where we're actually at as a team. So on this one, you've kind of seen this this I don't know, this graph, this like words before. So it's kind of like the product life cycle. First you validate, then you build for launch, then you build for fit, then you maintain, then you decommission. We are kind of here. We have two products kind of active right now. We're on the maintenance side for the BCard product right now. We're trying not to put too much work into it right now. And we're on the build for launch side for the B pages. So we're kind of like still trying to get it to that launch phase. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're here. Top level metrics since last season, August 2025. So that's 3.5 months. By the time we had that last retrospective, we went into a summer break. And so it's really September, October, November, and the first 2 weeks of December. So 3.5 months. We have plus 10,000 transaction volume, which is actually better because we had around 13,000 for 8 months before. So we're actually honestly doing kind of better there. We had 3 to 5 weekly transacting users, which again is a little bit up. I mean, it's still roughly the same as previous, but as expected for a product in maintenance. We had plus 12 users and less than 1 new user per week. We had we had another 1,000 revenue created for purpose-driven communities over the last 3 months. So this is our monthly Black Flag collective vote. So we sent out another $1,000 to people who held in real life events. Themes from the last retro. People liked that we were still here and contributing, attending meets, pushing our dev work, pushing out dev work, and we outlasted some VC-backed competitors. I mean, I think like people brought up Juno and some of these other companies. So money does not necessarily equal resiliency and does not necessarily equal success. The fact that we're still here and still working shows that there are other ways to be resilient, and it's something to think about. We are really looking at this differently. I think that another delta that came up last time was that we could engage more people. So the Latvia crew, I mean, Rainis did put a little bit of work in, but not much. And then people outside of crypto was also mentioned. And we also said that people outside of crypto we need to treat crypto more like a tool and not a religion. It's something that I think the people within crypto do a lot, is kind of treated as a religion. And also another delta, even though that we're still here and contributing, we definitely lost some steam during the summer. And this is something that a lot of people noted. On the plus side, people like the what did you ship to get tokens to contributor faster. On the delta side, people thought that we could push this even further, helping recognize people via NFTs and leaderboards. Another delta was that cashback that communities get is so low that it's not really selling. And this is why we kind of pivoted to B pages over BCard and put BCard into maintenance mode. We just didn't have the tools that we needed to succeed there. And I think we took some action on that one. And then another plus was that the idea that crypto shouldn't be seen by users has served us well. We do have a proof of concept of Pool Together and Snapshot that show what we can potentially do here. And we did have like some additional, well, at least one other additional person vote on Snapshot this this season, which was interesting. It was someone with or this last vote, which was kind of interesting to me. So we only have 3 votes, I think, on this, but one of them was Kristen from Farcaster, and so I guess she's using her bank to vote here, probably. I'm not really sure, but yeah. Anyways, those were the themes from last time, and so now we'll get down into the retrospective. We're going to reflect on the previous season. I'm going to try to go around the room, but I would love to hear people's pluses and deltas. So let's just open the floor and hear what people have to say.
I felt like I was away for much of the prior period due to a lot of personal things going on in my life. So I felt like a lot of the time I was checked out, but I always appreciated that when I was able to check back in. Everybody was still here working. And so I found that very comforting, I guess, when I was otherwise in distress.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, I think that's one of the. I mean, I don't want to call this a DAO, but I think that's one of the benefits of DAOs is that you can kind of pop in and out as you like and need. Go ahead, Dennis Thinker.
I think one of the things that went well is that we have identified that the card is beneficial at scale, but not a product that is going to help us scale, because we need to have scale for it to actually be worth the effort in terms of cash back. And cash back is also becoming harder to get. You really need to, you have to have funding if you're going to be giving cash back, because there's more to it than just that money that's coming off of the network, especially at this size. So the benefit from that, from realizing that, is that we've found a new focus. We haven't, as you said, we're still sort of at that kind of at the verify phase with community pages, but it's a good stepping stone. So I feel like we're kind of set up to continue the mission, continue helping communities, and by realizing that the card is just one pillar of what we're actually building is allowing us, and I know we've had that mindset from before, building other tools like Taxman that have all become part of the ecosystem. But now it feels like rather than a card company with some added extras, we're a community company with a card.
Yeah, I agree. I think that renewed focus kind of helps us, right? Because rather than like slamming our heads against the wall, that's not going to work. I think that like looking at it as an experiment and being able to reorient ourselves kind of helped a lot. And I really like the way that you put it. First of all, the idea that the card's beneficial at scale, but not a product to help us scale. I think that's a really succinct and concise way to put it. But also that thing that you said just at the end there, which is we aren't a card company with extras. We're a community company with a card. I think that that's a really good way to put that too. I really liked the weekly cadence and the what did you ship. I think that that's something that even over the last couple months has done well. I think it's just like a nice like I don't know like marker of like where we're at. Like it's like what am I thinking? Like not marker, but like there's like a you can kind of see like the health of the community or what's going on just in that, right? Like it's kind of like a good way to show to like kind of see at a glance what's going on in the community, the activity and that kind of thing. And that's something that we've discussed in the past of like when you're part of a community, you kind of want to see what's happening. And so a delta related to this, I do think we could do better sharing the leaderboard and even like the output on socials. And this is my fault, honestly. Like that's I guess it's been my job, although other people can do it if they want to do. I also think it's something we could make easier in B pages, right? So maybe we get to a place where you're actually able to see, just like when you're in I mean, I'm going to say something very codey, but like just like when you drop into a new GitHub repository and you see the kind of things that people did in that GitHub repository, you could do the same thing for like B Foundation. You can kind of say like, oh, I see that Tom made this update, and Richard did this update, and Lynx did this update, and Winverse did this, and NF Thinker did that. Like, it would be cool if you could kind of see that history on B pages itself. Richard, I see you unmuted.
Yeah, well, I unmuted because those were kind of the things I was thinking about. But on the on the cadence stuff too, I think also the fact that we're like doing the monthly vote is another thing that's been, there's a regular cadence, and you kind of like expect it to continue. And then I think on the like just a very generalized things that could be improved on this is to like, well, I guess figure out ways to highlight the the stuff that it's happening every month, but also figuring out a way to bring kind of like a flywheel effect into that monthly cadence, so that you start like increasing engagement.
Yeah, and yeah, so like I totally plus one you on this regular cadence of the monthly thing, and I hope that like I kind of want to like already as it is, the monthly tool, like the monthly vote is like, it's not that much of my work, but there are a couple things that if I had like a couple tools to do them, it would actually be even easier for me, right? And I actually think that those are the tools that we should prioritize, because if we're doing things easier, and like right now it takes me like, let's say like a couple of hours to run this monthly thing, but if it took a couple minutes, that just means that it is a thing that kind of happens almost automatically, and we can make another thing that happens automatically. So all these kinds of like low effort things, like making these things low effort is exactly what's going to help those smaller communities scale, because it's just like you could run this thing for no effort, and you could just continue making your art, or you could continue doing the thing that you're doing, and just have this as an add-on to it. So I really yeah, I think that these like kind of like low effort things help.
So I have one low effort thing. I think it would be low effort, and it's something that you've kind of already built out for links, and it could also solve that, what you were saying about making it easier for communities to share what they do. So the What Did You Ship channel, and that's Bounty Board. I mean, you've already built Bounty Board. It's more than conceptualized. I think if we could just implement a bounty board in these community pages where people can easily post a bounty or accept a bounty, I mean, that's like halfway to a DAO already, right?
Yeah, and so like bounty boards specifically, like I feel you in let's say in spirit, and I think that like in tactically, like in spirit, I feel it, and in tactically I feel like the way that we talked about it, at least the way Richard and I talked about it at the ops meet, was this. Sorry, can you hear me?
Sorry, yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, sorry, I was just taking off my sweater and maybe I walked too far from my computer.
It
But
was just bad service.
okay. Yeah, so the way me and Richard talked about it, kind of like at the ops meeting a couple of months ago, was that maybe it's this thing that instead of you're putting it in a Discord channel, you just like kind of put it on that B pages, like you put like what did you ship in the B pages, like on the B pages website, and then it kind of like stores that somewhere, like let's say on chain somewhere, right? And instead of being on Discord, you now have this kind of like system which shows these contributions that people made as like a history, and you could then use it as a bounty board in some way, right? Like you could add like a bounty board functionality on top of that, where we're like, hey, we see that there are like 10 pieces of contribution that were made by random people, and of those, 8 people are members, and so we're only going to look at the 8 people who are members, and of those, we accept 4 of them, so 4 pieces will then go to the treasury. Like there's like this layer of functionality you can add, but the first piece of functionality is getting that information on B pages in some way that other people can use too, not just us, right? So like not on like a database, but on some sort of like other thing. I don't know. It remains to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that can be built into these B pages. I mean, essentially they're going to become the community hub. But I guess one main choice we're going to have to make is this going to be an app that is the B hub or B community or whatever the name may be? We can even change it. It doesn't even have to be B, right? We can rebrand ourselves completely and entirely, because currently we're still sort of holding on to that, whatever the B may mean. So in that future, what do we look like? Are we an app where people go and they can choose from their different communities to then engage with? Or do we allow each community to create their own just web interface and save that as an app? And then people can save that. Sorry, rather than they save that, they make a web interface, and then community members can either visit that page or save it to their home screen as if it were an app. Is that what we're aiming for, or is it the former?
Yeah, so right now the way we're looking at it is the latter. Is like we create a system where anyone can make their own website, and they can save it to their home page, and they can use whatever they can put together the widgets that we're building for their own use. So that's the kind of way we're looking at it right now. But yeah, like as you know, we could potentially change that idea in the future.
Yeah,
but that's kind of what we're looking at right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely prefer the latter, and it doesn't require any sort of brand affiliation to us specifically as a community member. You don't need to load your B app. It's fully like the same way you don't know that a website is built on WordPress or Wix.
Exactly.
So yeah, definitely agree there. And then in terms of widgets, I mean, we can have those functionalities where people can stake, or AKA in add money to the endowment fund, and we can also have those a bounty widget where there is a community slush fund, and it's all on chain. You submit an action, somebody confirms it was done, and then you automatically get reimbursed from that community slush fund.
Yep.
So yeah, a lot of fun stuff to be built there.
Yeah. I mean, related to that, I think it's worth mentioning that like I keep spinning out on the deposit function. I mean, it's more of a personal issue than anything else. I need to carve out like coding time specifically for BCard. Like I've been coding kind of other things as well. But I often do our BCard like chores, like putting out like the monthly vote, reaching out to people, running those like splits transactions and other things. I often do those in like 15 or 30-minute spurts. And what I really just need to do is carve out like 2-hour blocks to just do BCard stuff. Because I'll sit down to code, and then 30 minutes later I have to stop, and I kind of like lose it all at that point. So yeah. Anyways, I think that like some sustained progress there on the B pages site would be nice. Maybe like because Phil had asked the other day, he's like, "Oh, should I be working on B pages instead of BCard?" And I was like, "Yeah, like let's get out what you're doing right now, and then yeah, it would be nice to have you working on BCard on B pages, and then maybe I'm spending more of my time like doing spec for those widgets rather than doing the implementation." Anyways, yeah, a delta for me, personal delta. Speaking of Phil, we had new contributors come in. Both Phil and Sprinkles contributed to code. And I think that that's really great. I mean, it's been a while since we've had new contributors. So I really just appreciated that they kind of came about, and they kind of came about of their own volition. Like they just kind of showed up, which was nice. I think like on the Delta side, I think it would be nice to attract new contributors. And I also think it would be nice to talk more publicly about what we're doing. And I think that those two are related. The reason Phil joined was because he saw that I was in Montreal, and he was just like, "Oh, I see you're in Montreal, and I see what you're doing on BCard, and that's interesting. Can we meet?" Um, and so yeah, that's I think like speaking more publicly about what we do could be useful, and also like typically this is what I do, but
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean,
Yeah,
that was one
I
of the
agree.
things that Bank
Yeah,
Stout had
Jost
going
doesn't
for it
want to
was there
talk
were
about
constantly
that
so many
Black Flag
people out
stuff,
there
and
talking about
it's.
it
I mean,
and
like him,
bringing other people in.
it's
There was a whole channel
honestly,
dedicated to
even me talking
onboarding
about it, I feel like
people,
is like
and
bad for my health.
it was a
And so I don't
task
talk about it
going
either. So I
through,
totally
and
understand where
like,
he's coming
you
from.
know, there were
I
5 or
spoke to
6
him when I
people
asked
who
him
monitored that channel to onboard people.
step in for
Um,
Winverse while Winverse was out at DevConnect
and
and put our meetings
that
up on
is
YouTube.
the power of network effects.
And so Dross was,
So yeah, to build that, you
you
kind
know,
of have
he's
to start
enjoying his real
at a
life,
spark,
and I think that
and
that's
that
honestly the
is
best thing
you
you can do
talking about
in general.
Farcaster
And so yeah,
events, or
it's you're right that we have like
bumping into somebody
our
because
kind of
they live
flicker
in
of
the
a
same
flame
city.
that we need to build over time.
So that's something I'm going to be working on this year, because with the
Any
Open
other
Matter Network
deltas?
job, part of that is going out
Pluses?
and attending
I have one
events.
delta
So
here. I think it would be
like I
nice to have
said
a B
before,
Foundation website. I know I
will
keep
be
saying that
in
I'll do this after
Denver,
we launch.
so
But
hopefully
in
I'll
general,
get some
it would be
chance
nice
to
for
speak
like, especially if
about
we're talking about
BCard,
publicly about what where we're
and
going
stages
and what we're
everything
doing.
we're building.
That BCard website by itself and
Beyond
the Black
that,
Flag
I'm
Collective
also going to
website, they
start
don't
going
really
to
give
more
that
local
context at all.
events. I'm about an
So
hour
it would
from
be nice to have a B
Cambridge,
Foundation
so
website.
I might,
Maybe I'll
I've been
if I'm able
renting this
to
for
finish
years,
what
but
I'm
I
doing with
might
the
even
deposit
host a
function,
blockchain event myself there.
I'll try to spin up a B
So
Foundation
yeah,
website
hopefully we
using
can
that
get some
same
more
code
traction
base,
with that. Start
so we
onboarding
can
some more people. It was
we can kind of
interesting and
see what we need
nice
to do
to
from
have
there.
Sprinkles pop in. That was very unexpected, and we haven't seen her in a while, but hopefully she'll come back. And yeah, great to have Phil. I think we had a few other contributors this year who added to everything, but yeah, having those two recently past quarter.
Any other pluses or deltas we want to talk about?
Came back and did some things. That was good. Sad to see him take a step back, but I understand his dilemma.
All right, I'm going to call on people since I haven't heard. Oh, go ahead.
Black Flag DAO. What's it called? Discourse. The forum. Anyway, I believe that's been now discontinued. And that was Dross who was paying for that. So anyway, yeah, it's been kind of a fractious year, to be honest, because with the breakup of Bankless DAO turning into Black Flag DAO, I know that's happened over more than a year, but like everything has sort of been rinsed out over the past 6 months. I'd say there's not a lot happening really. So yeah, to even have people coming in, participating and taking a look is fantastic. It's if it hadn't been for your sustainable work methods, well, you especially, Lynx, and everyone else who's been putting the most work into this, especially Tom. Thank you, sir, for doing so much hard coding. And of course, Richard and Winverse for turning up every week and doing the things that you do as well. But yeah, it's that sustainable work ideology that's really like helped us get through the hard time.
Yeah, it's a good point.
A huge support in what was.
I think also the fact that the fact that Kristen was able to vote with her bank, kind of interesting, right? Like we can use token for we can use a token from a defunct community and people can still get something out of it, right? Like that's kind of cool. All right. I'm going to call on people who haven't given up. I guess it's just. I mean, I guess Tom and Richard have both contributed. But Winverse, do you have any pluses or deltas you'd like to share? No, I don't know if Winverse can hear me. You there, Winverse? Okay. All right. So let's look at some of. Oh, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
No, I got one. I was just unmuting. So obviously we have no token. There is no token.
What community thing is
but
filled
there
out?
is a token, right? So I feel like that's working well for us. We've got a point system, and that is being effective at tracking our inputs. And I know we have, other historical contributions and tokens, and we have different NFTs from over the years. But we've never really had we've had points on a spreadsheet, but never really something that's been going out on chain. So I'd say whatever we're doing there it's a great start at a token. And I'd say we obviously haven't launched a token because A, regulatory requirements, and B, we don't really know what we want to do with the token. Why token? But with this, we're able to now explore why token. So that's, I think that's a plus for sure.
Yeah. So I've actually been thinking about this because. Yep. And so I have been thinking about this a little bit for that exact same reason. As you Farcast is kind of pivoting away from this. And so as a community, think about it from a community perspective, we're a community. If we kind of put all of our eggs in Farcaster and then Farcaster kind of pivots away, it's like, oh, okay, well that's not great. Same with X or LinkedIn or anything else, right? So I did think of some ways that we can kind of do this. But I don't know, maybe yeah, I think that there are ways that we can it's one of the reasons we are central we are creating this kind of web property
I just had one thing
that anyone can use so that we can connect to some of these other places without needing to use it. There's still interesting things in the Farcaster protocol that we could use, and users don't even necessarily need to know that they're using Farcaster to use them. And another thing is that if you're a new community member and you are active on X, is there a way for you to spread the vibe yourself without having to rely
what's going
on the
on there, but like
community's
figuring out a way
page
to
itself,
get
like
our,
is there ways for
community
members to kind of
page and
to make it easy for
community,
members to do that? I think there is, especially
in a
using
s-
Privy,
in a
because if you start connecting your social accounts,
like
and
on
let's say we have
Forecaster
like
and
let's call it like
and also
like let's say,
trying to engage
I
with
mean,
other
I'm kind of
communities,
solutioning here, but like let's
where
imagine for a
communities
second,
are,
that weekly post I
and
put on
maybe
Farcaster, which shows our weekly meet. So
bring
Winverse
them
kind of like
into
has a he does
kind
the
of what we're doing.
he puts the weekly meet on YouTube. I make a weekly post on
'Cause I
Farcaster,
just feel
and
like,
then Richard, you as a community member, you're not on Farcaster, you're not on YouTube, but you do go
in
to the
general, the
website because you
community
met me in
thing
real
is
life or
kind
something
of
like that,
kind
and
of,
you
or at
see
least
that there's a new
I feel
post, and you see that there's something
my
interesting there.
perspective,
You may just have an
kind of
easy
fizzled
button to
out.
like say like, okay, share to X, right? Like it takes the data and just automatically posts it on X, right? We don't get all of the network effects for that, but it does create this kind of like way to get the message out through like these kind of bottom up
I haven't
networks.
really like seen any, well, like, because the Farcaster was kind of leaning into it at one point with like the channels.
Sorry, are you
and
saying something,
stuff,
Richard? I can't
and
hear
there
you.
were kind of groups
Oh.
where people like talked about common things. And I think, and at least from,
I think there are
my
ways to do this.
perspective,
And
that's like a
again,
lot
we have that
less
self-sovereign property
and
for
then
communities.
on
Hey, it's your own website. It's your
X,
own web
for
address.
example, I'm not
You can host it wherever you want. You can host it on IPFS like we're doing.
Like I've kind of
And it's
decided I'm
going to be
not,
this like
I'm only
self-sovereign
going on the
thing that
following
you can
thing,
just
and then
use.
I'm not getting any kind of like
and
discovery of new
I
stuff.
think that
'cause I don't
potentially
add any
when we do
followers
that,
or anything, and I don't spend that much time.
we can set up a
looking at stuff
situation where
there.
communities can still connect with others, because the web is like that
So
kind of like
like
really that
figuring out
underlying
where
substrate to everything else,
where
right?
the community,
As long as we use these kind of like interoperable networks,
or
we could potentially be doing some interesting
like
things
how do you drive
with using web as that baseline.
message about
All right.
communities.
Well,
Like,
let's extract some themes here.
do you like
So
lean into it on an existing platform, like
I think like one thing is
using
like
Forecaster or a different or like a
we
different client
are
on Forecaster
still here
that's
and
maybe
working.
more tuned to like
Sustainable
communities.
work practices are helping us stay resilient, and you can pop in and out, and people do. And then the delta related to that is that would be nice to, I guess, like that, like kind of like work on our external communication, drive more new contributors, help us stay in touch with our B pages, market, communities, refine our technology to make it effortless to communicate externally. Feels like some themes there. I think like there's a plus on regular cadence, regular. Well, I guess this is kind of related to. Oh yeah, regular cadence is good. So weekly and monthly cadences help us get into a groove. And when we make these routines easy for ourselves via technology, or just like easy for ourselves, they actually happen. Let's see what else we have here. So this is again communication, new contributors, potential market. Yeah, looks like communication. Yeah, I mean, I feel like these are the overarching themes. Does that make sense? Does anyone else have a theme that they'd like to share here? What do you guys think? Silence is not acceptance. And insane silence is not
no,
acceptance. What I mean is, someone
was
please weigh in.
thinking in unmuted, but mhm.
Yeah, I think it's good to have that kind of sober discussion, and thoughts. And in general, I mean, the answer is, since we have constrained time, we should not be maintaining things if they're taking up too much of our time, right? I think that in some ways it's like we need to be building things in a way that they require less maintenance, and also we need to be able to pull the ripcord when maybe things are requiring too much maintenance. So I mean, we can get into specifics like for like Taxman or BCard or these other things, like if you want, like maybe just the two of us, uh, but yeah, I think that's a general theme to me. Exactly. Yep. Agreed. Or just let it go. Yep. Yeah, because I don't think we're actually like specifically for Taxman, I don't think we're using it as much, although Richard was using it kind of recently. Um, but yeah, I think like, I mean, for instance, we're paying CoinGecko for historical price data, which we do use in the BCard app a little bit, but not much, right? So like we could exactly. Yeah.
I guess lately I've been thinking a little bit about maintenance requirements and of the things that we build. Sometimes they end up costing us time and energy and effort in terms of like making sure that they don't get broken or hacked or wrecked in some way. Um, Maybe thinking about life cycles of assets like, Taxman, if it's not going to be monitored or whatever, is there a depreciation end of life that we look at for that? Or, do we commit to maintaining it, always in all events, circumstances, similarly
Yeah.
to, the
But I
other
do think like
products and whatnot?
the theme
It's like how
of
long
like, well, let's
is
put the theme as
are
like
the things that we're
um
building still
like
useful for the things that we want them for?
we need to optimize. Well, you know what? I'm not going to put pluses and deltas next to these. Um, I'm going to just put them as this. But we need to. I think we need to optimize um, for our resiliency. And so, like, reducing the effort it takes to do things, maintenance, etc., reducing the resources required, i.e., let's say CoinGecko, dev time, etc. That is part of resiliency, right? Like the less time it takes to do some of these things, the more resilient we will be, especially if we're still getting decent
Yeah,
outcomes
it's
for
just
that.
like
Like I think
everything
like
that there
one of the
is
highest impact things I
that
think that we
we
do
want to maintain
is
well, right, has a
Blackflag
cost
Collective,
to be
right? Because
maintained is
we're
basically
we're
the thought
literally able to
process.
give out,
And so for
you
us
know,
being
hundreds of dollars
mindful
every
about
month
all of the
for
things that
very little
we're
amount of time.
desiring
So
to
it's something and it's
build, we have to
interesting
also have
and
the
it allows
desire
us
to
to,
maintain.
yeah. So it's a high impact thing. But
But
there are yeah. Anyways,
yeah,
I think
well, yeah,
that
I think
like
it kind of needs
if
to
we
be
find
looked at in
ourselves
terms
putting
of like
towards a lot of
how,
effort, like for instance, you know, Tom had to do a bunch of
like,
hours
so I
on
think that we figured out
some of these like
a
fixes
lot of ways
related to
to
these
kind of be
these
like
React bugs, right? Are
sus
there ways that we
like have
could have avoided that?
long-term
Are there
resilience or
ways that we
whatever.
could have
But like,
ensured that that didn't happen,
you know,
right?
the effort, and I
Maybe.
think
It's something
probably
we'd have to discuss from a
it's
tech perspective, but
mainly
if we can
like measured
leverage ways
in
to avoid that in the
people's
future,
time
it's
commitment.
amazing, right? Like
How
that would have
does how
that would have
is
saved
that
Tom
contributing to like what
10
the
to 20 hours this
objectives,
month
what
that
our
we could have been using for
objectives
something
are?
else, right? So
Like, is the
yeah,
effort being put
definitely
in
something I think
uh,
that we should take as a theme.
in line with the objectives, and is it helping to move the objectives forward?
All right. Kind of at the end here, but I don't know. Any last thoughts? I mean, I guess like I used to ask like, how do you feel about BCard? And I didn't ask it this time, but yeah, I mean, any last thoughts on how we feel about BCard going into 2026? Tom, I see you've unmuted. Okay.
Well, yeah, and I guess, well, like I don't think, you know, it's maybe
No
not
thoughts?
like, because there is
Okay.
the
Well,
monthly
think
fee
about it
on
over the break. Just a
CoinGecko, and
reminder, like the
I mean, I
next two
guess
weeks, we're not meeting. No weekly meets,
you
nothing
probably
like
need
that.
it
We will still
for
have the
like
ops meet on Friday, but other than that, not much else.
the
I'm going to take the time to reflect. I'll
token
probably do like a
distribution
few programming
stuff,
things that I want to try to get done. I'm still trying to get the deposit out before the end of the year.
and then
Knock
for
on wood.
Taxman,
And yeah, in general, I
like,
think it's
you
worth
know,
thinking about what do we
are
want
there
this
more
place
ways
to
that we could
be.
use it?
I think like one of the things that I've been grappling with
Or are
is
those,
how do
or are the
we
ways that we're
communicate
currently
what we're
using it,
doing here
do they
externally,
justify like what we're
not
spending
just to
on
crypto
every
people,
month
but to
to do
people
that? But
outside of
I mean, I think
crypto.
this is
How can
that's probably like a
we
little bit more specific than
talk about the potential benefits that we can provide here, and how
a
does it fit into
retrospective
our everyday
perspective. But
lives? Can we build something that our moms and dads can use? Can we build something that our friends and family can use? Can we build something that can actually make things better in our local neighborhoods? That is the goal, right? And so if you look outside, if you go for a walk, if you go to wherever you are in your neighborhood and your day-to-day life, how can we make that better? I think that that would really be something that would be useful for us to talk about. So anyways, think about it, enjoy your break. I really appreciate all of you being here. I really get a lot of energy from all of you, so I appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, Happy Holidays, and all that good jazz. See you later.
Oh yeah, sorry, just still unmuted, I think, from before. Thank you, Lynx. Thank you, everybody. I think we'll keep building some cool stuff, and it'll be useful, and we'll find some good things to do with it all.
Thanks everyone. Thanks Windverse. Thanks Lakes. Thanks Tom. Thanks NFT Thinker. Or NF Thinker. Bye.